doesn't know.
Hey guys, welcome back to the No Holds Barred Network with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host as always, the EVP of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany. And today, I love it because I'm on a roll with everybody at H2O. So, I mean, it's only fitting that I put a bunch of thumbtacks in the background and in the thumbnail for my good friend Austin Luke. What's going on?
Hi. Don't on my thing, haven't they?
That
was not on purpose.
Yeah, nah, I'm telling you. I feel like every time I see you, there's always thumbtacks involved. So I felt it was just...
They just stay in my shoes and they don't come out for a while. They just bring anyway.
Oh, God.
But,
you bring the party. So...
Definitely.
Oh, man. Guys, if this is your first time here on the Under the Rope series, here I interview everything independent wrestling, whether it's wrestlers, referees, promoters, anything backstage, anything independent wrestling, I have you covered. I'm sure if you guys have any questions for Austin, please drop them into the chat. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So... I see a whole bunch of people in the chat. What's going on, guys? I see Lewis. I see Good Cop, Bad Cop. Thanks, Good Cop, Bad Cop. Thanks. I always worry about my sound, so thanks for letting me know. Hey, Rich. Hey, Kate. How are you guys doing? Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Yeah. So let's get this party started. Are you ready here, Austin?
Of course, definitely.
All right. So let's start off. I always start my interviews off with this question: how did you get into professional wrestling?
It's a loaded question. I've always liked wrestling. I've always been a fan. It was like my dad watched it, and then I don't have a moment where I just kind of was like flipping through channels and was like, oh, what's this wrestling thing? I've just always had wrestling. I had VHS tapes actually of all of like 2001 Raw because I was born 01. Everything I had was from 01. Mm-hmm. So I think that the Invasion was awesome. Watching it back now, I know otherwise, but like as a kid, like my first like favorite wrestler was Rob Van Dam. Mm-hmm. And I credit RVD and Jeff Hardy at Invasion that year as being the match that made me want to be a wrestler, but I've just kind of always wanted to be a wrestler. There was never a moment where I deviated from that path. I've always just wanted to do this. There's nothing else I really like. Other than comic books, that's pretty much it. It's comic books and wrestling for me.
Ooh, well, since you brought that up, let's talk about some comic books. So, what is like the comic book like that you keep reading over and over again?
There's a couple. The Daredevil Born Again series, my favorite ones. Punisher is my favorite character ever. Punisher Warzone, Punisher Max are my favorite Punisher comic books, and then anything Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. He's probably it's him and like Deadpool are tied. They're like my two favorites. Ooh. Very much love Deadpool too.
Okay. So you're more a comic book guy up against like watching in the theaters, or it's like the hype of if something comes out, you have to go run to the movies and go see it.
Definitely both. Like as a kid, I just had like my grandfather's old comic books. I actually still have those comic books. I have like 8 boxes of comics, and they are all super old, and they're all like they're probably worth a small fortune. Like it's a lot of comic books, but I'll get rid of them because I love them. I'm probably gonna go back and read a bunch, which is gonna be fun. But that and the movies, I'm really more of a Marvel kind of person. I know there's an argument of Marvel and DC. I like both, okay? Right? But Marvel's just better. There's not really much of an argument to be made there. Marvel's just better than DC.
Ooh. Okay, I love it.
Always love Marvel movies.
That's good.
I pretty much was raised by Marvel. I was like 7 when Iron Man came out, and I was 17 when Endgame came out. So like that's 10 years of my life. All I did was watch Marvel movies.
Oh man, you guys make me feel old sometimes when I talk to some of you guys.
Yeah, that happens.
It's all good. It's all good. So let's continue back on to track with wrestling. Like, what made you choose to work with Matt Tremont and come over to H2O?
So the joke I always make is I was already in the building. H2O just kind of moved in, and I was already there. I was training there with the company that ran the building previously for about a year until they closed, and Matt took over the building, and he kind of just he let me start training at H2O. He really he took care of me. He did a lot of things he didn't have to do for me. Like he could have I had already paid tuition with the other school.
Mm-hmm.
He could have charged me a whole new one, and he told me no. He told me I already paid a whole tuition. He told me I didn't have to do it again, and he didn't have to do something like that for me. And honestly, I would have paid it again in a heartbeat. I wanted to be a wrestler.
No.
So being at H2O was like, yeah, they moved in the building. I was already there. Me and actually Ryan Redfield. So yeah.
You guys know Ryan Redfield. We had him on the podcast recently as well. If you haven't checked out the interview, please go back and go watch it. So, but you guys are like all like family. I talk about this with everybody that comes on with H2O, and it's like even me coming in and watching you guys. You guys are great, and like I mean, it really is a family feel, and a lot of people say that. Even the vets, like the backstage like is great. I mean, I hear crazy stories, but like it's something at H2O. It's just a great family feel.
It really is. It's funny because like I tell Marcus Mathers, he's my little brother. I tell him all the time. I'm pretty sure he hates when I say it. I don't care because he is my little brother. And then same thing with Ryan. I've known Ryan since he started, which was right after I started, and I've known Ryan for a while. So he's another one. He's like my brother. It's those two, probably my best friends. So.
You guys are adorable, so I love it. Marcus too. So again, he's been on the pod. Go check those interviews out. I see a bunch of you guys in the chat. What's going on? I see Cody's jumping in. He's giving me some love. Thank you. Smoke Hogan's in the chat said Austin is a future legend.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Good cop, bad cop. He's starting with his questions. He goes, was drawing a blank, but would Austin Luke be an anagram of Unite a Sulk? What moment in wrestling caused you and your group of fellow wrestlers to collectively sulk?
That's a good question. I'd honestly like the first one to come to mind is like Undertaker losing at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna sound weird, but everyone I've talked to about that night has a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone tells some weird, like they remember it so well because it was such a big thing, but it's just wrestling. Being in wrestling, what goes on and how things go. It still does not feel like it actually happened sometimes. But I just remember when it happened, that was like when my dad stopped watching wrestling. He saw that and he was like, I'm done. He's like, I can't stay here and keep watching this. And for me though, like it was just that made us all collectively at the same time just, man, that sucks. Like we were just very bummed. And then they tried to bring us back up with Daniel Bryan, and it kind of worked. Daniel Bryan, my favorite wrestlers as well. So.
Oh, okay. That's funny because I stopped watching wrestling for a long time, and then I got back into it, and I'm like, even now, like I don't watch WWE. Hey, listen, if you guys are into it, that's cool. That's on you. I'm an AEW girl. I'm an indie girl, obviously, but we've evolved. I bring this up every podcast that wrestling has evolved. So and I can only imagine how it feels as a wrestler, and I only get like pieces of little backstage stuff that I do, so I can only imagine like what it feels for like you guys. So
it's hard to watch wrestling sometimes as a wrestler, and I'm sure anyone can, like any wrestler would agree, to see someone doing something, and it's just like I used to do amateur wrestling, so when I'm fighting and stuff like that, I like squirm when I watch because like my muscle memory kicks in. And I can't watch, and it's like same thing with wrestling. I twitch. It's weird. Like I just can't sit still, so I can't just like relax and watch something. Especially if I'm really like focusing and they're like really hooking me, and it's a really good match. What happens the most for that? It's like Ring of Honor stuff, like Danielson and Nigel, probably my favorite matches. So like that I just can't sit still when I watch wrestling anymore. And then. Yeah, I kind of agree with you with the whole WWE thing. I don't watch a lot of wrestling anymore. And when I do, I don't watch wrestling. I study it. That's the other hard part about wrestling and watching it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I've had friends that I've gone with that like it's hard because if you're trained, and again, like I'm never gonna understand this because I'm not trained. I'm just a fan who
Right.
podcasts. So like, but so I'll never fully understand that concept. But I've heard it from wrestlers or people who have trained, and they were like, I can't sit and enjoy it like somebody like me who's a fan who doesn't
Right.
know, how you guys like do certain things, and they're like, oh, I wish I had that feeling that you get because I'm sitting here and I'm cringing and they did this and I'm critiquing and whatever. So I can only imagine like that's
It's
must be it.
like it's almost ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
You know, if you know what's going on, like you can't tell what's bad sometimes if it looks like everything's going well, but then when you're, like I said, as a wrestler and you know things about wrestling and you're watching something on TV and you're like, man, this is horrible,
Right.
and you're like, but I can't say anything about it, or because they're getting paid more than I am,
Mhm.
that. So
I see you guys in the chat. Santiago's in the chat. Hi. He says, hi, Austin. He's sending the wave to you. I see you, Wilbert. He goes, you're a kid. You're a good kid, Austin. Always been. He also said, Tiffany, I remember I was over Austin's house. My son is friends with his brother, and I remember them jumping on trampolines, pretending to wrestle.
yeah, I did that a lot. Who said,
Hey.
who,
I'm sorry?
who said that they saw me on the trampoline?
Wilbert.
Uber? Okay, yep. I don't know. I was one of the guys to start coming to the H2O shows. His son is friends with my younger brother, and they would hang out a lot as kids, and me and my brother would beat each other up on the trampoline. We would jump off the treehouse onto the trampoline, did a swanton one time, and I hit the trampoline, and it was really broken, so I hit the ground and knocked all the wind out of me and threw me in the air, and I couldn't breathe.
Oh.
But my brother, that was the only backyarding. I'd use air quotes because we just had a trampoline, and we just beat each other up.
I feel like everybody's got a wrestling story like that because I even have myself like wrestling with my friends when I was in my teens many moons ago.
For honestly, I wasn't like, so I was 15 when I started training. I didn't have a lot of time as like, a teenager to be like, hey, let's, go wrestle in the backyard. Because I was already training. Like, I didn't want to go play wrestling when I was already doing it,
Right. Oh, it's funny. Santiago told me to ask you a question. It was funny because that was the question that our good friend G Raver had kind of made me put on the side here. So wait, let me find that in my list of questions. So,
notoriously good questions.
Yeah. He said, it's been heard by many that you love wrestling to look real. Then safe to say, is Japanese arm drag your favorite move?
I hate Japanese arm drags. Oh, man, he had to do this. I'll go on another tangent about Japanese arm drags. One, I don't even think they should be called Japanese arm drags. I don't think they should be. I don't think they should be done to begin with because they make literally no sense whatsoever. It's physically impossible. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things in wrestling that should be physically impossible. But Japanese, like, you can't even tell who's doing the move when someone does a Japanese arm drag. Like, I was talking to Jeff Cannonball about this. He said he used to do them all the time because they were easy and they were a move to do in a match. And he said he showed it to someone who didn't watch wrestling. And they said, who did the move there? And they're like, it doesn't make any sense. I hate Japanese. Terrible. Just do a normal arm drag. I'm definitely going to get heat for that, by the way. I do. All the time I get yelled at for hating these stupid arm drags. So much heat for this. And then people will do them. And they go, hey, Austin, did you see that? And I'm like, I hate it. And they do it just to mess with me. And it happens. I don't care. I'm going to do one day in a match. I'm going to do one. I'm going to call it and do one. And just see whoever it is, see their reaction. And then go to to say, hey, did you see my match? Did you see that arm drag I did? And I'm just going to mess with everyone.
Oh,
it's going to be my favorite move after this.
When you do it, can you let me know before the fact so that even after the match I could come backstage with the camera and then I could film all this so that you...
Absolutely.
All right, cool. I love it. Okay, so this is another question I like to ask everybody that if they don't know you, right? If they never seen you before, in your opinion, what's the go-to match that they should go watch of yours?
My match with Nolan Edward.
Yeah, this is a really good
I
match.
say, but I don't know. That's my favorite match that I've had. Um, but so that match is, I guess, a death match. I
Hmm.
would say. I don't know how to put it,
Yeah.
but um, that's not something I want to do frequently.
Hmm.
So I don't want someone to see this match and go, "Oh, he does these all the time," because I'm not a deathmatch wrestler. I'm just a wrestler. And
Right.
then we had that match, and that's he. Nolan got something out of me that night. I don't know how. I don't know what he did. It's just like it's like he unlocked something that
Yeah.
I didn't know I had, and I just from that point on, I just got a lot better, and it clicked in my head even more than it already has. It just clicked further, I guess.
Aw, I love that. I mean, Nolan Edwards, great. We love him here on the network. We've had an interview with him, and he's great. And I'm glad that we're seeing him more at H2O. And they just
Yes.
made the announcement today. Oh God, I just went blank. Who was he wrestling?
Oh, Sean.
Sean Henderson. Sorry, I like went blank. Duh. Yeah. So this is the third student at H2O. Anyway, so he had his other match with Ryan Redfield. That's on IWTV as well. Like Nolan, and I've heard that too. That Nolan's been able to pull out like these amazing matches out of people.
He is an amazing wrestler.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. So guys, go check that out. In your opinion, what's the most hardest thing about wrestling?
I don't know. I mean, I like my favorite part about wrestling is the in-ring portion. That is my favorite part is what we do in the ropes and off of them. The hard part, I guess, is kind of like the easy answer, is being away from home, which I haven't done for really extended periods of time, but especially now, like I have a kitten, and it's like having a son, even though it's not. He's just a cat. I barely have to pay any attention to him, but it sucks to have to leave. And I know it sounds silly, but like even trying to decide, like, oh man, do I finally want to get to see my girlfriend this week, or do I go train? Do I go wrestle? Like, it's stuff like that. And the hardest part about is just I guess the politics, which we really don't have a lot of at H2O. It doesn't really happen, you know. So I really even haven't even had to experience that to its full extent. So that would be the worst part about wrestling, but it's even something that like I said, I haven't had to experience it that much being at H2O mainly, you know.
Right. April's in the chat. She goes, "Let's see the kitty."
Oh, gotta find him. He's probably sleeping right now. I have to scour the whole house to find him.
Nah, don't do that. But no, that's been great because I've been.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
He'll probably
Maybe
pop
by
in.
the end of the interview we'll see the presents. But I love it that you.
Oh yeah, he'll start crying at me for not opening the door sooner or later.
Oh.
Once he doesn't bring him in.
There you go. So maybe by the end, you never know who's gonna pop up on the podcast, guys. Like we've had raccoons, we've had dogs, we've had cats. So
That is awesome. I used to have all kinds of crazy pets.
yeah.
Me and my whole family. We've had my favorite were the scorpions.
Mhm.
We had fur scorpions, and we don't have them anymore. That was a very long time ago. And tarantulas too, because when we had them, people would come over and they were right there. We'd have the scorpions, the tarantulas, and then snakes. And then people would be like, "What is going on here?" They thought it was like a zoo, but it was just, we would take them when people didn't want them anymore. So we didn't really pick any. We just got them. We just inherited them, basically. So that was what we used to do when I was a lot younger, and very, very long time ago. We don't get to do it as much anymore.
Ryan Redfield's in the chat. Connor Falls is in the chat. Uh-oh. I told you never know who's gonna pop up in these chats. So I warned you before we started this interview. Oh man. Okay. So I want to talk about your match with Dylan McKay and Marcus Matters as heir to the throne, because it's definitely one of my favorite matches. That I feel like that this is a match that I can constantly go back to. All right. And it's definitely like one of my favorite matches of the three of you. Never mind all the thumbtacks you know. But also like to be mentored by the vets, which was
Yep.
great. So Brandon Kirk, Drew Blood, and G Raver, which is nuts. So like, what does this mean to you? You know, let's talk about this match. I mean, you guys, it's on IWTV. Like I'm telling you, I've watched this match numerous times. It's that good.
I was actually thinking about this match today. It's so funny. um, so I'd had this conversation with Matt a really long time ago about doing the thumbtack kick pads. I asked if it had like ever been done. So I'm like, that sounds like a really cool idea. And he's like, it's been done a few times, but not in a while. And then a couple months, maybe a year later, I get a text from Mark, and he's like, hey, Heir to the Throne, it's me, you, and Dylan in thumbtack kick pads. Awesome. This sounds like a great idea. And then finding out we each had vets going into it, we each had a mentor, and it just kind of fell into place perfectly. Like Mark and G Raver were having their match at the last Extravaganza night 2. Dylan and Drew Blood. Dylan's first match was with Drew Blood, and my first good match was with Brandon Kirk, which is also free on YouTube. That was from Undiscovered 20 something. I don't remember, but that was my first good match. I'll say that. Then Brandon Kirk's always had this ability to just kind of like Nolan to pull something extra out of me and help me like go one notch further. So him being my vet was also like was very real life, very shoot, because he definitely has helped me a lot. And say what you will about Brandon Kirk, people don't tend to like him very much, but I definitely have a respect for him that not a lot of people have, but they should, because he's very good. He's one of the best right now, in my opinion. And he actually just had a match with Marcus at Pay Your Dues, and it was awesome. He beat the crap out of Mark. I thought it was hilarious. But Heir to the Throne with the thumbtack kick pads, I'm kind of a striker, and pretty much all I do is I throw a lot of kicks. So going into it, I was like, this is my match. This is me. Like, this is what I need to do all the time. And I think that was our third time we had done this triple threat match with the three of us. We did one at I want to say it's like the very beginning of 2020 in like January. And then we did one on Matt's retirement party show. And then this third one was Heir to the Throne. So having done this match twice already with my two best friends and tag partner, and this time, third time, pretty much being all three of our first proper death match with thumbtacks and bleeding and chairs and doing stupid things to hurt each other, even though we're all very close friends. But the whole kind of premise behind Heir to the Throne, with us each having vets, was to do the hardcore wrestling, but do it right and do good wrestling and just kind of sprinkle in these hardcore elements. So I think even without the thumbtack kick pads, that match still would have been very good. Without a single thumbtack, same moves, same everything, would have been a pretty good match, even without the thumbtacks. So
definitely one of my favorites. Ryan said, by the way, Undiscovered 23.
Ryan knows everything.
Oh, I know.
It is insane. I was thinking it was 28 or 23, but he's right, 23. I don't know how.
I love it.
Crazy.
I love it. Yeah, I know. Everybody says it too. He's like the little encyclopedia, like pretty much. So it's like my best friend. Like I could be like, okay, when was this match? Where? Who? What promotion? Like, so hey, it's very handy. So thank you.
He does this and wrestling, getting hit in the head all the time. Like I literally, I'll have like something exciting to tell someone. I'll tell them once, completely forget that I told them. And then, like, an hour later, I'll go back and tell them, all excited, like I didn't tell them already. I did it 3 times to him one night. I got all excited about this idea. I went and I told it to him. He's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And 2 more times, he was just trying to be nice to me, and he just let me say it again. Aww. And I was it's just all the times. My memory is terrible. But Ryan, he's our encyclopedia. He remembers everything. to a fault because we're trying to get him to forget some things. I'm just kidding. He's fine.
You gotta slip him some money so he forgets some things. That's what you gotta do. Be like, here's $1. Like, well, no, the dollar's not gonna work. Okay, here's like $10. Like, can you just magically forget this? So, but I do agree with you with Brandon Kirk. You guys, if you've seen him on the podcast, and very close with Casey, as you guys know, like, but Brandon loves all you guys, and things like I have heard even like from him that he loves working with you guys, and you guys are just good kids. And like me, that's what I love about H2O is like what I see out of you guys, and like I say it all the time, like you are our future of wrestling. So I can only imagine the next couple of years, like where you and you guys are already starting to make moves. I'm gonna get this question in the chat because I'm gonna segue into it because it's gonna bring up no peace. So it's great that you're even like moving around. We'll get into that. But like he had Smoke Hogan said, are we going to see solo no peace matches from Austin? Ty Hill versus Austin would be a good matchup.
I can't say yes, but I also can't say no. It's one of those things. I would love to, absolutely. In a heartbeat, I would go right back down there and do it again because they were very, very nice. That was just the thing. Everyone was very nice there. That's the only thing that people aren't enough. And it's fitting I'm wearing his shirt, but he said all the time, it's nice to be nice. And people don't really remember that. So everyone was very nice at No Peace Underground. And hopefully they're okay with me saying that. And I'm not trying to hurt anybody's presentations, you know. But I would love to. It's a very cool environment. At first I was very unsure. Like I had no ideas going into this match with Pero. Me, Ryan, and Reed going into this. No ideas. Because I'm used to using a ring and ropes. I'm going into this and I'm like, I can't hit the ropes to warm up here. Like there's nothing to do. Like it was so very, very confusing. But Pero also took very good care of us. He had everything. He really he took care of us so well. It didn't even feel like we were wrestling without a ring. You know, it went very well. And like I said, it was a very cool experience and environment. And I would love to do that again.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I was so excited when I saw it. I loved your tweet. And it's funny, I remember this. I loved your tweet. You're like, Uncle Raver took us on a field trip.
A lot of my tweets at G Raver are usually just like inside jokes, just to like pop him. Mm-hmm. When I wished him happy birthday, I said, "Stay jazz for Jesus." And there's one night we were at H2O. It was just me, Matt, and Raver. Of course, you know, Chrissy and Sully were there. And he starts talking about a movie that I still have never watched. I think it's called Spring Breakers with Jeff Jarrett in it. Mm-hmm. And he's like a priest or something. Not a priest. He's like, I don't know. He's one of those like church people. I don't go to church, so I really don't know. And he says to someone, he goes, "Hey, are you jazz for Jesus?" And I started laughing very, very hard because G Raver is the one that said this to me. And you know how G Raver was. Oh yeah. And when someone like him goes, "Hey, are you jazz for Jesus?" I started crying, and it's been an inside joke ever since. And every time I see him, I'm like, "Hey, Raver, stay jazz for Jesus." And it was fun.
No, you guys are great. Like I love how you guys will try to like pop each other, which is great.
The best part about trying to pop your friends.
Oh yeah, I love it on like the social media, and especially with you know, well actually you know what, like I have it on the screen, so let me put it up because I'm gonna bring this up. So we have Death Anniversary coming up, you know, and when your guys' match, this scramble, just so you guys know, No Holds Barred Network is what's it called, sponsoring this match, just so you guys know, because I popped so hard for this match, and I really do feel, and I talked about this with you before we went live, is that I feel like this is going to be the scramble match of 2021, so I needed to put the network on it, because like seriously. Yeah, it's so I love all you guys. I gotta get Reed on, so he's like the last one in this. So I gotta get him on the network too. So I'm coming for you, Reed. Just so you know, I'm trying to get everybody on here. So that's what we're trying to do. But
very fun person to talk to.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Like everybody, like I will get to everybody. There's so many students, and I will make this happen. But Death Anniversary is coming up, and we have this 6-way. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness! Like I am all for this. like, like
Yeah, this is gonna be a headache.
I'm gonna be sitting with the popcorn. All right, so like I'm gonna sit with the popcorn. But I'm really excited for that match. But
Very much.
yeah, so no piece we chatted about. Let me see. What else? What's been your favorite part about wrestling?
So there's always like that anxiety going into a match where you're like just nervous, and for some reason I've always had this feeling where I'm like, man, I can't wait for this to be done with.
Mhm.
Like I can't wait to be done wrestling.
Mhm.
Like just for the done my match, so I can like go out and watch the show. It's not like I don't want to wrestle. Like I still want to have this match and do it, but the whole time like I can't wait for this to be over
Mhm.
because I can't wait for that relief at the end when you're finally done the match and you get to the locker room and you get to talk to whoever you wrestled, especially if it was a good match and you have a really good match and afterwards you're just like, oh, thank God that went well. You're just like, everything went just as planned, and when everything is just all said and done and you're all safe and you're whole and you're not, cut in half or whatever. That's the best thing about wrestling is after, you can hang out with your friends and be like, man, that was a good show, and you can be proud of what you did in the ring and not be embarrassed about yourself, which some people should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. Papa Giorgio's in the chat. He goes, damn kids. Listen. Okay, you got up in my face at one of the H2O shows and you you were like, don't go on her podcast. So for that, you're not coming on. No. Don't be knocking the kids. Okay. All right. So I gotta just mess with everybody just like a little bit. So, he's great. He's great. Our friend Conrad, Everything Pro Wrestling, his fan tweet was, "What is a location you would love to wrestle in the future that you haven't already?"
That's a good question because my only real goal, like some people have a lot of dreams and aspirations, and I do as well. And my only thing is I want to wrestle in Japan. That is, I want to dream like the most unlikely scenario, but it's still a dream of mine, is I want to be in the G1 Climax tournament. That is that's a heavyweight tournament, and currently I am not a heavyweight, that is for sure. But that's my dream. It's Wrestle Kingdom, it's G1, it is Japan. That is the one thing I need to do in wrestling. It is the one thing I can do, and then after I do it, after I go to Japan and wrestle, afterwards I can be like, okay, I'm proud of what I've accomplished and what I've done. After that, whatever I do after that point is just kind of extra. That's all. Like, I beat the game. I'm just going back and trying to do the extra missions and get the collectibles and achievements and all that after that,
I love that. You hear people say like, "Oh, I'd like to go to Japan, but I'd like to go detailed with." I love the G1. I got to see that here in New York a couple of years ago. It was amazing. So I would love to see you like MSG G1, like over here. Your face. You're like, oh man.
That's literally like, just. I believe in Japan. Japanese wrestlers and wrestling is the best kind. Mm-hmm. I'm not ever going to discredit like wrestling anywhere else in the world, because I used to love British wrestling, mm-hmm. and like in the UK, I used to love the British strong style, not the people, the actual style of wrestling. And another Pete Dunne is another one of my favorites, mm-hmm. right now. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, I'd say. Pete Dunne's very good, and just that style of wrestling. Also, World of Sport, the old British style of wrestling, Johnny Saint and stuff like that. I love that kind of wrestling. I love the technical. I am notorious for not enjoying comedy wrestling, but I love comedy World of Sport wrestling because there's some funny things that they can pass in my book. Like a lot of Johnny Saint stuff was at times a little goofy, a little funny, and then it was still wrestling the whole time though.
You don't want to wrestle the Invisible Man?
No, not at all.
I would
Well,
tell Matt to book you
well,
against the Invisible Man.
I hear that guy charges a lot. Um, I don't ever want to write off comedy wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't want to out wrestling because I hate when people say something isn't wrestling. Because wrestling, that's the beauty of wrestling. It's whatever we say it is. And comedy wrestling is just, it's not my flavor of ice cream. It's not my favorite thing. It's not my cup of tea.
No,
I
that's
don't enjoy
okay.
it. I don't hate it. I call comedy spots all the time. And everyone's like, you're calling comedy stuff? And I'm like, yeah, this would be hilarious. Because I know when to do it. And some people only do that. And, you know, if it's fun every now and again. And I'll say this. One of my favorite matches ever is G Raver and Chuck Payne from Chad Spectacular.
God.
One of my favorite matches I've ever been there live to see and actually watch, and it was amazing. And especially after G Raver had done the Panes of Glass, and it was just lots of glass.
Yeah, I don't know how I went from that to this.
Changing things.
And I was front row for both. So it's like just watching him go through, the ceiling glass.
That's range.
Yeah, it's great. And to watch this, and I can't wait for this to come out wherever it's on YouTube or IWTV. Like, this needs to happen because this was one of my favorite matches.
Internet gets a hold of. They're never gonna let either Chuck or G Raver live it down, and they're never gonna forget what they see in this match because of how good it is. It is funny the entire time.
Oh, footage that I captured and put on social, it was going around. It was pretty funny. I was like,
I'm gonna take over the internet one day.
It's the best thing ever. Like the knocking on the door and rock, paper, scissor, and thumb war.
When going into a match and you're like, oh man, G Raver and Chuck Payne, this is gonna be awesome. Knowing both of them and what they've done on other occasions, and then them kind of saying, hey, we aren't going to do that on this show. We're not going to kill each other right now. We're going to do this instead, have a comedy match, and then the crowd not being let down by that. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people like, oh man, we're gonna see a lot, between G Raver and Chuck Payne, and then they have this match, and no one was disappointed. No one was upset. Everyone was like, man, I almost like that better than if they would have actually killed each other. Everyone loved it. And then with Josh the whole time,
oh my
God,
getting paid. Oh
so
my
good.
God, the throwing money at him,
Just like the way Josh reacted to everything, him talking, like Josh is one of the funniest human beings I've ever met. Him and Jeff Cannonball are probably my most favorite and funniest people I know.
I hope this comes out soon because this was really, really good. Witness it live and I didn't expect all that and to watch it and I'm like, oh man, this is the best thing ever. But I mean, I get what you're saying. And and that's the nice thing about wrestling. What I like is if there's something you don't like, there's something else you're gonna find and like. So again, I had talked, I'm not a WWE girl, and that's fine. And I know a lot of people that like it, and that's great. That's for you. Me, I'll watch deathmatch wrestling, or I have gone to comedy wrestling. There's I like high flying. There's just different types of wrestling out there that everybody enjoys. It's not for everybody, but there's something for everybody.
Everyone likes different flavors of ice cream. So I say not. Some people might prefer. I don't eat seafood. I hate seafood. I think it's terrible. Other people love it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you like seafood? You're weird. No. People just realize that wrestling is whatever a wrestler, if you're trained, whatever you want it to be. Mm-hmm. It's not a formula. That's the best part about it. It's just it is whatever you say it is, and it can be funny. It can be crazy and death-defying. It can also be heart-wrenching at times. There's been very emotional moments in wrestling, and the first one that comes to mind is Matt's last match with Ricky. Yeah. Even though being one of Matt's students, knowing so I've known Matt his whole career, but when I started was pretty much his tail end. I didn't get to see a lot of his other stuff because I didn't get to go to shows when I was younger. I had watched everything online and all the old matches he had and actually getting be close with him now, and then getting just to see his last few. Like I went to Indiana to see him and Alex, um, him and Murdoch, and then him and Ricky, and then the whole time knowing that it was coming up and like knowing that it was happening, so it wasn't just abrupt, you know. But still, that whole time, it just even after the promo he did after the match was just like the whole thing, it was just very, it was bittersweet knowing because like he said he didn't want to but he had to, and knowing why he wanted to do that, and then being one of his students when I tell people all the time, Matt's like another dad, I guess. He's my Mr. Miyagi. That's what I have to say. He's my Mr. Miyagi. So seeing that was very emotional. So like wrestling can really just be whatever people want it to be. It can be bloody too. Like I love deathmatch wrestling. I'm not planning on doing it very much though, but I have too many ideas not to. So
well, never say never, and
yeah, I would never say I'm not going to do one ever again. But like I said, it's not something I'm going to frequent. So when it does happen, when I do something like that, it's a special occasion, and I want people to realize that like, just because I'm a different style of wrestler and I enjoy different kinds of things, I'm still willing to go to these lengths, and I'm willing to sacrifice for wrestling. I am totally okay with the cuts and the scars that Nolan gave me from this pane of glass. Like, this to me is just like a tattoo, and that's something like this is something I take pride in. This one tiny little scar, when there's people whose entire bodies are just scarred, and while I want that, like that's the main reason I do any death matches, so, but I'm not going to do them often. Actually have a list of people, and it changes all the time. But I say I don't want to do death matches. There's people I want to do them with,
okay,
and I limit who I do these death matches with. So,
it should mean something. I feel like a lot of wrestlers say that too. That if they're gonna go, it should have a storyline into it. It should mean something. That's the only time that they're gonna do it. So that's what it seems like. A little bit where you're coming off with that.
Yeah.
So
definitely. It has to have a story and passion behind it. It can't just be, two people that don't know each other and they're like, hey, nice to meet you. We're gonna go hit each other with a bunch of glass and chairs. It's gonna be, people are probably gonna go crazy and react because we're gonna be bleeding all over the place and they're gonna be drunk, go crazy. But when you go back and watch it, you're gonna be like, man, there wasn't a story told here. There wasn't even a lot. There wasn't a wrestling move done other than swinging
light tubes.
Yeah, gotta be more creative than that.
Yeah, I get it.
It really does.
I get it totally. Ryan says not try to toot horns, but you and I had that one match where we beat the hell out of each other, strong style, heavy hitting.
So me and Ryan had never had a one-on-one match up until Mystery Violence Theater Act 2. If that's wrong, I'm sure Ryan will tell me. But going into that, like, I don't think people really knew what to expect out of the two of us. Both of us being, we're good guys. We're nice kids, me and Ryan. Nobody knew what to expect. And then the crazier thing is right before that, Mark and Reed had this 15-minute banger. It was amazing. And then they came back to the curtain. And I look at both of them. I'm like, man, why you gotta do that to me? Like, now I gotta follow this. And then me and Ryan somehow managed to follow it. People were just as lively as they were for the match before for us. It's because me and Ryan were, it was nonstop pretty much. Me and him, I think me and Ryan probably did a total of like 4 or 5 different moves the whole match. And it didn't need to do more than that. We just needed to do them multiple times. And he hits those freaking lariats. The discus and just a regular lariat from Ryan. You can ask anyone. It is one of the most painful things. Ryan has the best lariat in wrestling. I will put my name on that because there's very few people that can top one of Ryan Redfield's freaking just murder lariats. And they are amazing.
Yeah, that's why I always say, like, don't estimate you guys because you guys are young and, like, H2O is the up-and-coming promotion, I feel like. And, like, you guys are great and you guys have your own things of what you're great in.
That's the
So,
crazy part is like there's been over like 50 students that have gone in and out of H2O, whether they debuted or not. We are so many like different kinds of people. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like diverse wise, we're from all kinds of like parts of the world, all kinds of jobs, and we're all so different and we all do different things. We all love wrestling.
yeah.
We all love this one crazy, stupid thing that we call wrestling. And we all are a family because of it. When in real life, like someone like, I'll just say Alex Stretch, with the way, like, I love him to death. He's like a brother to me. But I probably never would have been friends with him in, like, the real world until I actually got a chance to talk to him because he's like a crazy Viking guy. And he's awesome, like I love the Norse and Viking mythology and stuff like that, and getting to meet Stretch and talk to him about this, and like we're just all of us from so many different parts of the world. And I say world, but like it's only South Jersey and Philly and North Jersey and a few other places like New York. And we got students that moved from New York to here just to be closer,
Yeah.
and like and for him to be my like Mark is my best friend. He's my little brother, and he's like 3 hours away from my house. Like, he's far, It's crazy. But
I feel like I need to move closer too because like I feel like I'm like limited at H2O. You guys are a
well,
little far from me, but I make my way.
I get yelled at all the time because like I'll go there and then like I said I'll be there till really late. Like my girlfriend will text me at like when she's getting up for work at like 5. She's like, "Hey, you never texted me when you got home last night." I'm like, "Oh yeah, 'cause I'm still at H2O." She's like, "Did you sleep?" I'm like, "No." Stayed here, and she'll be like, "Well, you need to go home, go to bed, blah blah blah." I'm like, "I know, but I can't help it sometimes." There's something about being there and then talking to whoever stayed because I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, you get it. Oh man, we
can't-
got more questions in the chat.
no,
Mark Leslie says, I know Mark Leslie was very excited about this interview. So his question is it hard being the most handsome of the kids?
it's not. So I knew this. Like I know out of the three of us, I'm definitely the best looking. And it's not because of anything specific other than my hair. Mark and Dylan, just their hair isn't as good as mine. And it's just it.
Oh.
It's
Damn.
can't do it.
Damn.
That's the only thing. The only thing. I love both of them, but they just can't compete.
Damn. Damn.
Mark will probably do it now that he has somebody to help with it. So
No. There you go.
the only reason my hair is good is because my girlfriend's fault. She's here, try this. I want to see what it does to your hair. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And it works. And she just, I'm her guinea pig. I just try whatever she hasn't used yet. So
I love it. I love it. Wait, I saw another fan question in the chat. Wilbert, first he said, "Where's the beard?" And then he said, "Tell them how much you spend on your hair."
it's not a lot, actually. I don't spend a lot on my hair. Like I literally, I don't put that much effort into it. I think the less amount of effort I put into my hair, the better. As for the beard, it's hot out, man. Like, I didn't shave it all the way. I just trimmed it shorter. But I don't even know. I don't even know how much my shampoo and conditioner costs. It's like the good stuff though, but it's also still from Target. So I don't know. Like, it's not a lot. Like, I'm not spending any painful amount. I spend more on wrestling gear than anything else. That's because I burned through it. So.
Okay. Fan tweet from Joe Bond. He said, "If the Superman punch has already been taken as a move, will Austin invent a Batman kick?"
So I used to, when I would do, I guess, backyarding, I had the Spider-Man kick where I just did a wall kick. I'd run off the wall in the basement and I'd kick my brother in the head. And it wasn't anything crazy, but I mimicked the Superman punch and I called it the Spider-Man kick. But I'm not a DC fan. I'm a Marvel fan. I love Batman though. I could try, but it won't be as cool as the Spider-Man kick. That's the only problem. So yeah, though.
We have we have another fan tweet from Anthrax. He goes, "My question for Austin is, How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a wood could chuck wood?
He must be very bored with that leg of his. I'll let that one slide. I won't.
Oh,
do any-
oh. I love it. I love it. What are some things you like to do when you're not wrestling?
That's a good question. I mean, like hanging out with my girlfriend and the cat and just being at home. I'm not a very social person, and it's not like I say it all the time. I don't like people, but it's not that I don't like people. It's I don't. I'm very introverted, and like I said, I like staying home. I don't like going out and going places. Uh, More often than not, it's watching Netflix and Hulu and just hanging out at home. I'm not, like I said, I don't like going places. I don't like. I don't drink. I ain't going to no bars. I don't go to parties. I don't like it. I just don't enjoy going out and being around crowds of people. Even before we had a whole pandemic, the only thing I really enjoyed doing was going to wrestling. And when I'm not wrestling, I like watching it. And then and then yeah, I guess like reading comic books and Marvel movies. Like I'll probably go back and binge watch those every couple months. So just that kind of stuff.
Marcus Matters is in the chat. He goes, he is not better looking. And he said, yeah, I got to drag him out of the house.
He does. He really does. It's the most annoying thing because he's like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it, but I will talk about it because I'm already. He's like, hey, you want to go on a double date? And we're like, yeah, I probably should, because, how many chances are we going to get to do this? And like I said, he's far. So we got to meet halfway. So it's a 45-minute drive for both of us just to meet halfway somewhere so we can all have dinner and hang out. And he literally has to, like, tell me, like, he just has to force me pretty much to leave and go places and do things because I hate it. But when he's around and I'm hanging out with my best friend, it's not that bad.
I love when you guys did like the video and you were down at the beach and you were going around.
Had to drag me to the beach. Yeah, that was fun that day.
See?
I live pretty close to Wildwood, so I'm there all the time.
Hey, you gotta. I always like to say, make moments, man, because you never know. So don't be a stickler when he calls. Go out, go out. So, let's see what else we got here. So what are some dream promotions that you would love to work for?
One that I don't think a lot of people give its due anymore is Ring of Honor. I would love to wrestle for Ring of Honor because that's like, I love pure rules. I love just technical wrestling, and that's kind of the only place where it's emphasized. And I love the honor behind it, the shaking hands before the match, the code of honor. Love that kind of stuff because it makes wrestling just makes it feel more like respected when they're doing stuff like that, and the wrestlers respect the wrestling that they're doing. And I would love to wrestle for Ring of Honor. Other than that, All Japan and New Japan and like Big Japan Pro Wrestling, BJW, places like that. Not a lot that I can think of dream promotions in the States. So probably
like Ring of Honor.
One that I would love to wrestle for Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely like a good fit. I think it's coming like back up again. I feel like you got some great people over there. You got Deppin over there. Like,
he's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah. You know what? Like now that I'm thinking about it, like I wouldn't mind seeing you at Yuta. Yuta's like one of my favorite indie wrestlers going around. Like technical.
During that match. Crazy.
Yeah, him and his bridge. Can we like talk about like his bridge? It's beautiful.
Is notoriously bad, but that's because I did amateur wrestling and I bridged a lot and I messed up my neck really bad doing this. So trying to do it now, I can't. It hurts, and I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix my neck so that it doesn't hurt anymore. So I want to be careful because don't want to break it.
yeah, please don't do that. We would be very sad. Don't do that. Listen, I've seen enough of you guys get hurt. Like, no more injuries, okay? Like, no more.
Yeah.
Marcus says, tell him Jimbo is coming.
That's fine, I guess. I haven't texted back this whole time, but that's fine. Jimbo can come. I'm not upset about it.
So I have two final questions for you. If you guys have any other questions, drop them in the chat. So my next question is, do you have any pre-match rituals?
So it's funny you asked that because I was watching Nolan did an interview with Jonesy, and he said how he just kind of like sits in front of the curtain in a chair, and then he just kind of gets up and walks out. I was thinking when I watched this, I'm like, what do I do? And I don't have one. I really don't do anything. I think I just listen to my music, my theme song. I just kind of listen to it. When I hear people clap with it, that's when I get in the zone, in the mode for wrestling, and like, yeah, I'm probably never more comfortable than when I'm in a ring and when I'm wrestling and like in front of the crowd. I'm never more comfortable than when I'm doing that. So I don't really need too much of a ritual, like or like a process, and nothing to get my head straight, because I know as soon as I get out there, everything's gonna be okay. As soon as I get in the ring, I'm gonna be right where I want to be. So it's everything outside of it that I don't want to deal with in the real world that I need to have a ritual to prepare myself for. But I got nothing before matches.
Okay, that's okay. Oh, I see some questions in the chat. Good Cop, Bad Cop said, after Austin Luke, who is the second best wrestler with two first names?
I do have two first names, but that's funny because Austin Luke's my first and middle name. It's my real name. I just don't have my last name in there.
Yeah.
That's it. My name's Austin Luke. I don't know who has two first names. There's, I would say Nolan Edward, but
yeah.
That's the thing. It's not two first names if Luke is my last name.
Yeah.
Last name, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Shh, but you're not supposed to tell that. Shh, shh, shh. Mark Leslie says, what was the best Marvel Netflix series?
Oh, man. It's a tie between Daredevil and Punisher. Those are probably... Well, they also cross over a lot. I would say Daredevil. I think that one's probably the best one. And a close second for me, other than like Daredevil and Punisher are tied at one, and the second is Luke Cage. I really, really like the Luke Cage show. That one's very good. Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, I don't like very much. I don't like either of those shows. So. Okay.
Wilbur says, is your brother Wyatt going to wrestle also in H2O? He said he would like to face you in the ring.
My little brother, I say little brother, he's huge. He's very tall. So everyone wants, my little brother's name is Wyatt. He has mentioned wanting to train to be a wrestler, but he's also got some health issues at the moment. I'm not going to put all of his business on blast, but he needs to get a spinal surgery soon. So he's only 15, and the kid's got to get a very serious spinal surgery. So if anyone wants to wish Wyatt good luck and say they love him, because he's my little brother and I love him to death, and I would love to beat him up in a wrestling ring one day. But I need to make sure he can live his real life comfortably before I have him come into wrestling, because I don't want him to get hurt worse or to re-hurt it, or I need him to be healthy in the real world before he can be healthy in this wrestling thing, you know?
Absolutely. Definitely best of luck. So I have one final question, and then we can go into what's coming up in all your socials and all that stuff. But I always like to ask this question because I do have fans that maybe are thinking about becoming a wrestler, or, they're starting out. But I always like to ask to inspiring and amateur wrestlers out there, what's a piece of advice that you would give?
Honestly, just do it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? When you'll probably get hurt. It's gonna hurt. Like, it's not a if or when you're gonna get injured. You're going to. Wrestling is like, if you actually care about it and you actually love wrestling and you want to be a wrestler, just do it. Because like I said, there's people from all walks of life that do this. There's no reason that if you are physically capable, that you can't be successful at it. Because you just got to find a good school, You know, you can't go to someone that has no clue what they're doing, because then you're not going to get much better than they are. So you have to, like, just, if you want to wrestle, you just have to do it with your heart. You can't just do it. You know, it's not something you can go through the motions with. Because when you do start to go through the motions, that's when you get hurt. That's when other people get hurt. That's when you don't care about it as much. And when you're not caring about it and you're not loving it, you're not doing very good. Your matches aren't going to be very good, and no one's going to want to see you. No one's going to want to pay for your merch or to see, or pay a ticket to see you wrestle if they don't think you care as much as they do. So don't wrestle if you don't love it, and if you love wrestling, then wrestle. Give it a shot. Why not? You know?
I think that's great advice. Definitely.
Oh.
No, I think it is, because I've seen those that I feel like some of the wrestlers that aren't and it shows, and you're right, 100%. It definitely shows, because I can tell that, and you're right. And then it's not gonna, if you're not believing in it, then how do you expect me to believe in it?
It's not just that, but they're also taking up a spot. If they don't care and you don't want to be there, then don't, because there's so many people that care twice as much and more than that really want to be there. You know, so if you don't care about it, don't do it. Yeah. There's no one forcing you. No one has a gun to your head saying, "Hey, you have to do this." You know, if there's somebody else, like, there's definitely going to be someone else out there that'll take your spot in a heartbeat. Yeah, so this drives me nuts.
Definitely. So, great advice, great questions, guys. Thank you for all your questions in there. I see all the hearts and all that stuff. So let's talk about, we got a lot coming up, man. You are busy.
A busy summer so far. I've wrestled for 2 years now, and this is my third summer wrestling, so this is going to be my busiest one.
This is busy. So this weekend, this Saturday, we got a double header. We have for Anthrax, and Anthrax is coming on Friday, so you guys tune in, ask some questions for him. We're going to break down the card definitely this Friday, so come chat with us Friday. But yeah, you were the first match announced. I knew it. I was like, wait a minute, why can't I find the actual? It was like the first one, and I'm like, oh, duh. But you and Declan Grant, and I'm really excited for this because obviously, you know, like, I think you're great. I think Declan Grant is great too. So I'm gonna come for you too. He loved my cookies. I mean, I was feeding all the kids cookies and all.
I forgot about that because I had like 2. And then they were gone. And I'm like, dude, what happened? I remember this now. Man.
I know I have to make more,
Probably, but it's his fault. Now we have heat. Now we're going to kill each other.
There you go. He actually said to me he had to stop himself from eating them all because he said that they were that good. And I purposely split them between the Saturday and Sunday show. Like, I could have came in with the 2 trays, but I knew some people weren't working the Sunday show or they weren't working the Saturday show. So I wanted to make sure, especially like Billy, because I promised Billy some cookies. So I was like, she was there Sunday, and I was like, okay, I got to make sure I get my girl Billy some cookies. So, but I promise, I mean, right now I can't because I have no gas in my apartment. So when my gas is back up, I promise I will bring you guys some cookies again. Because even Matt told me, he was like, oh, the kids loved it. I was like, oh, good. Like, but... So that's going on. So you have that match this Saturday. So there's still tickets, guys. If you want to go, definitely like check it out. We have also Fan Appreciation Night.
Yeah, I don't think I'm just gonna be there. So just hang out with me and watch some good wrestling if you want.
Come hang, come sit with me. I'll be causing havoc, fighting with people. I'll be fighting with our good friend Papa Giorgio over there, like.
Unintentionally.
Yeah, no, it's all good, love. So we also have Death Anniversary next weekend. Again, like I said, I'm stoked. Yeah. I think this is Scramble of the Year, guys. 100%. Yeah, and then you have NFW coming up too, so I'll be backstage for that as well. So you're not getting rid of me. Oh, look who walked into the chat. Hi, Cody. I see you. I'll see you. Yeah, so you have that match with TJFX. So, yeah, you have a busy summer.
Yeah, it's a lot. And even, like, if I'm not actually wrestling on the show, whatever H2O is doing, I'm going to be there. And then in July, H2O is going to the Showboat, which is going to be awesome.
I'll be there, too.
See, that's going to be awesome. Being with H2O, and, you know, H2O never really leaves the building, you know? Yeah. And because Matt doesn't really leave the building. So when H2O gets to travel and venture out there, it's gonna be very big. It's gonna be awesome, and getting to be a part of it is just even cooler. You
Now,
know,
now I heard the AC show. It's not going to stream.
it will not be streaming now.
So if you guys like can get to the show, get to the show. You guys know
Yeah,
like this is my home. So I can't
unless
push this enough.
DVD gets like shipped to your house, but that takes forever. You know.
Yeah. So it will go. You said it's gonna go on DVD. That's how it's gonna. People
Yeah,
they're gonna have
something
to.
like that, or it will eventually get put up for streaming. Who knows? But it's not something that will get lost. People will very easily get to see it. I'm sure.
Yeah. Nah. This is going. It's gonna be a great summer. I'm really stoked.
Yes.
For all the matches coming up again, like I really enjoy you guys. You guys are great. There's a little bit of everything. That's why I like the high flying, the technical. You have your death match. You have a little bit of everything at H2O, and that's what I love very, very much because it gives you that variety. So I feel like you can't get bored because you got a little bit of everything. So and the crowd is pumped and crazy, and it's just a great environment to be in. So if you guys can take part of being there, definitely be there. If you can't support an IWTV or buy DVDs, it's definitely worth it. So, but tell everybody where they can find you and merch and all that fun stuff.
All my social media is Austin Luke W. That's everything: Twitter, Instagram, and I think that's it, right? Just Twitter and Instagram. I'm not supposed to have anything else, am I?
Facebook too.
Oh, that's just Austin Luke. There's
Yeah.
no W.
Yeah.
Just that. Other than merch, only at shows for right now. You can go on jonesycollects.com and get my Jonesy collaboration shirt. That's up there on his website. And while you're there, check out some of Jonesy's stuff. He's a very good person that doesn't get enough credit, I feel like, because he's a very good dude. And he's helped out a lot of people in wrestling and a lot of my friends and me as well. So, yeah, those are where you can get merch. And just come to H2O shows and Undiscovered, please, because there's some bangers that happen on these Undiscovered shows. And not enough people get to see them.
I know. I
People
wish I could come and see like some of these. It's just that like it's like a ride, right? Like so, it's a ride for me. So if I'm coming on the weekends to H2O, and then going back to New York to come back to Jersey, it's a lot. But I promise I will get to one of these Undiscovered shows in the summer. I definitely promise because I'm kind of sad that I do miss out on some of these student shows.
They'll all get put out there eventually.
Yeah.
Like there's debuts, there's people that are still just starting. Like I just wrestled someone in their first match at the last Undiscovered. His name is Cecilio Vega, and he did amazing. So check him out too. So.
Awesome. I love it. So like I wish you luck for all the matches that are up and coming within the next couple of weeks. I'll definitely be there backstage, so you guys will see more videos posted on the network under my Indie Talk series where I interview. You never know who I'm going to interview. Jeff Cannonball crashed one of my interviews. That was fun. And I asked them where his soda was, you know.
Yeah, a specific locker for it. There's a fridge. A mini fridge. I remember saying on his IWTV episode.
Yeah, no, it was great, and I love the fact that even like you guys, I got to film that with you guys, like testing, doing the drinks of Jeff Cannonball's soda, which is great. So we love Jeff Cannonball.
Please check out that soda. It's delicious.
It's good. Definitely, it's worth it. So if you guys can't, if you're not going to see Jeff Cannonball in person, definitely order it online because I saw he posted that he sent out to a bunch of states. So if you can, definitely go and order. It's really, really good. So I mean, I did one with my best friend Brad. The kids did a review that I recorded for them. So you never know. You never know what you're gonna see. So, but Austin, thank you again for coming on to the podcast, chatting with us, kick ass this weekend. I'll see you. Try to go out with Marcus more. Don't be petty.
I gotta check the text that he's probably been sending me, and I got. So.
And by the way, Josh is in the chat. He said Austin is my favorite wrestler. So just so you know, I love it. I love it. All you guys are definitely family. So, but guys,
sure.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Under the Rope series. Make sure you stay safe and support independent wrestling. And we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.